Hello and welcome back, everybody, as we are here now for the grand finals of the Mayhem Winter Classic, and I am super excited to see both Third Impact and Skyfoxes go head-to-head. But before we talk about that, let's talk about gifts, because I think gifts are great. Necra, what could you tell us about some lovely gifts here?
We don't have gifts for our viewers, but maybe you can be a gift for somebody else. We are partnered with Gift of Life, nonprofit partner with a mission of curing patients with blood cancer illnesses, such as leukemia and lymphoma. And maybe you can be that gift of life for somebody else. Please use the I guess it's a command in chat called !gift. You can go over to giftoflife.org/register. Maybe you're a perfect match in terms of a bone marrow transplant that someone might desperately need. So hopefully that you'll check that out. And if you're not too afraid of diving in deep and seeing if you can be a match for somebody, please try to do so. It could save someone's life.
And without further ado, diving in deep to content, we can definitely see the first map of Busan going to be coming out between Third Impact and Skyfoxes. We have seen Skyfoxes today just persevere one team after another and finally working themselves up to this grand final match. It still will be a best of 5, and Third Impact has been waiting for this moment to get their hands warm and try and compete against Skyfoxes. And honestly, that was one of the topics we just talked about just before this match was about to begin, and how the fatigue is, I think, really going to be an important factor going into this for Skyfoxes.
I think the fatigue is something that we need to be at least cognizant of, because this is a long tournament. And when even just talking about the game, sometimes you do get a little bit overwhelmed of, oh, there's so much to look at, so much to think about. And I imagine what the players must feel like, right? Being a competitive player, or at least coming from a background of that, it can really set you in a, you just got to take care of yourself, right? So I hope that the 10-minute break was at least enough for Skyfoxes to just sit, take a little bit of a rest, maybe grab a little bit of a snack, and get back into the mindset of playing against Third Impact, because Third Impact has been on an absolute roll through this tournament, through the upper bracket. They have gone almost completely undefeated in maps, only losing one to Class 6 at the very beginning of the tournament. But since then, they said, no more. We aren't losing another map yet. So this is for all the marbles here between Skyfoxes and Third Impact. Is Third Impact going to lose a map to Skyfoxes, or is Skyfoxes going to take it all the way home? They haven't played against each other in this tournament yet.
No, they haven't, and that's going to be one of, I think, the biggest things. So sizing up one another is really just going to have to happen on the fly, and being able to acclimate at the same time, though. Third Impact, I mean, has had the opportunity to at least download some of the tactical plays that Skyfoxes has had, along with just their overall mechanical, formidability against them. And with us going into Busan, and it's going to be the downtown map first, there's a lot of verticality to this, and Skyfoxes play a very stellar Pharah play coming out by Razors. It's awesome to see that kind of play. We're curious to see if Third Impact might want to bring thing or try and roll in the McCree that we also had from our prior matchup versus Revival. So again, there's a lot of skepticisms coming out as we do wait for this reconnect to happen from Skyfoxes. And honestly, it's really going to be interesting to see this first control map. And we talk about it a lot before. I mean, we had Breakable Barriers when we discussed it for you and I, Necro, where the control point itself is just a unique animal when you go head to head for the first time.
Yeah, it is a very unique animal, just because this is where you get a chance to feel out your opponents for the very first time here. You can get a lot of information from just playing on a control map. You glean a sense of who's kind of the pace setter of the enemy team, who's going to be using ultimates faster, when is that going to happen, who's really tracking and doing all of that. So you definitely want to use this as more of a scouting tool. And for those that are really just kind of feeling it out, it's okay, I think, to lose this first map. I don't think that should put you on tilt too much. It's, again, a scouting tool, and if it goes your way, great, gives you that confidence boost to move into the next maps. But if not, then adjust, take a step back, and say, okay, what information did we glean from this particular map, and what can we use moving forward in the rest of the series that will play to our advantage?
Very much. And with, again, this also having some, opportunity, we also did see a lot of high ground play when it came to the Sigma, kind of a divide and conquer tactic. Eric's and talk about it. We've talked about it, this three-prong type of attack between Tracer and having it with the Wrecking Ball and Afara. That was very predominant that we saw in the last few matches. High ground position, a lot of crowd controlling, finding an opportunity, taking down a lot more of the Zenyatta play that we've had, just because barriers are breaking a lot easier, values themselves, and it's just a really, really interesting play as we are looking to now finally get back into it. We have the disconnect finally reconnected for us. It is going to be Hydron on here, really going to bring the team together again. Speedily will not be in this match thus far, so as we know of, since they are not feeling well. So Hydron going to have to step in once again here to make sure that Skyfoxes can really be a formidable force, while Third Impact again is coming in fresh for this.
Third Impact is going to be coming in fresh, and they're actually going to be on the blue side if you haven't gotten a chance to see that yet. But I want to talk a little bit about Third Impact because we've only seen them a little bit in this tournament, haven't we, Rich?
Yeah, we've only seen them for the first introduction part of some of the stream castings that we've had. Like we said, we didn't get to see the original one where they did lose their only match against Class 6, but they've still been playing dominantly over the last 2 days, today and yesterday. And it's really going to be interesting to see how Skyfoxes, again, not seeing them before, really can try and battle this titan of a team that has worked so well together through this tournament and tournament prior.
What's not even, there's just pre-existing synergy here. While Skyfoxes is a team that's played together a lot, there's pre-existing synergy between the front line of Third Impact, but DCOD just went a little bit too deep there.
Playing a little bit overzealous against Skyfoxes, who are very warm and very coordinated. To really get that early pick is critical to force this team back. You're going to see now Dakota on the front trying to get back in with the Wrecking Ball. This play by Zyke, though, going to go down early again by asking with this McCree play, and it's becoming very relevant that Skyfoxes are holding together very well against Third Impact to start this off.
You know, we talked about tournament fatigue, but we didn't talk about warm-up, and now because Skyfoxes won such a formidable match against Revival, they're awake. They're ready to play this game against Third Impact.
You're very correct. Now 10% already generated. You see an early pick though by Zyke on that Tracer play, taking down Mikey, but Asking still getting a decent sight line with a flashbang immediately onto the Wrecking Ball to prevent the pile drive. What a perfectly timed toss as the pulse bomb is thrown just overhead of Asking, not going to survive through it. The Deadeye to try and force out any remaining members on the outside. A regroup has to occur with 28% inclining.
One thing that I want to talk about here is the difference in the support choices. We do have Carter on Third Impact that was playing the Soldier, but is going to be switching over. Actually, a lot of the composition for Third Impact is about to switch because Skyfoxes has taken not one, but 2 team fights now. But one of the changes that they're actually going to keep here is Elris on this Ana, which Mudkip has also been playing, but Mudkip's been outpacing Elris right now in terms of the healing, and I think that's been huge. You have gotten 2 major healers on the side of Skyfoxes.
Now that nano boost going to be very critical to find a target to use it in the back. Elris being very patient on who to drop it on with that Wrecking Ball getting almost a pile drive, but still getting caught on the corner here. Carter on the upper position, though, really utilizing this Hanzo to get some damage onto that Wrecking Ball, but the Immortality field tucked around the corner can't seem to get rid of it in time. And you see Icy now with a double to follow up. The regroup here coming out from Third Impact to take this point back. Lovely job, and this changeover now from the Tracer onto the May to get a great changeover.
The great changeover for sure, and this is something else that Third Impact really kind of worked on, was also their target priority. I talked about there being 2 heavy-hitting support players on the side of Skyfoxes with the Ana as well as the Baptiste, just putting out so much healing, but Crusade got taken out pretty early in that fight, so that meant that you really still had to rely on Mudkip playing the Ana, but now they're going to be playing the Zenyatta moving into the next stage.
Wall finally falling to try and reposition, but another counter wall here by Hydron with the Blizzard available. Pushing forward, looking for the chance into the Hall. Great use for the 2 ultimates to be combined as Icy does get the nano, but won't be able to do anything. Still caught in the center of that Blizzard, but the survival from the supports allowing Icy to keep up. Crusade finally getting the pick necessary to keep this applied pressure forward as Crusade has the amplification matrix, will no longer need it, dropping down to the point 78%, hoping to turn it back at that point as they see Third Impact surpass 50 and actually still doing a decent job running this clock to keep some decent percentage gain.
Decent percentage game, but we're in last fight territory here as Skyfoxes takes back control of this point. But they had to invest a lot of tools to do so. So Third Impact's actually walking in with a Supercharger as well as a Blizzard, and there's no Blizzard, no Transcendence on the side of Skyfoxes. Skyfoxes have been playing together as a huge unit, so this Blizzard's about to be big.
All right, Supercharger leading in. Icy gonna use the Flux to go right into it. Nick on the front gonna get a nice pick in the back onto Mudkip. It's 99% into the overtime as Skyfoxes try to exert their dominance on this point, but a take back here for Third Impact with an entire team kill. And you see Zik holding on to this Blizzard.
Yeah, they are going to hold on to the Blizzard, and that's actually massive. Recognizing that the Gravitic Flux was all they needed to swing the fight in their favor, Third Impact now still has the Blizzard online, and look at Zik hiding, waiting for Skyfoxes to move in. Somebody on Third Impact is going to let Zik know that it's time to hit that Q button, and it's going to be right when Skyfoxes is moving in at the last minute. This is going to be a problem. Mudkip still doesn't have that Transcendence online yet.
And here enters the fight with the Blizzard. Nobody's seeing it. Has to force the Cryo Freeze along with the Fortify. The stun, though, going to come out by the accretion. Barely able to survive. Gets the great counter pick on the Mei. With this Hanzo up top still getting a lot of value. Asking, getting the better shot. And the tail end of that is it's 99 into the 99. With overtime commencing. Still in favor of Third Impact. Trying to strip it away as Skyfoxes with the numbers advantage. Dragon Strike from Carter in the back. Hoping to get a pick. But no, it's going to be Mudkip finding the advantage. Stripping it away. Last remaining members from Third Impact unable to stick on this point, and that will be map 1 for Busan on the downtown, going in favor of Skyfoxes.
That was such a close one, though. Third Impact started to figure out kind of the game plan there, but downtown just ended up being Skyfox's territory. Now we are going to be switching things up here as we are playing on a control map. Each specific round, each specific stage of this map is going to be a little bit different, so you've got to play it in... You got to really be able to... shift things around here depending on what the architecture of the map looks like, and Skyfox is already going to be moving over to a bit more of a Death Volley comp, but also looking to play a different game, I think, than the game of Overwatch.
I mean, Tyrael versus Tychus would really be an interesting matchup.
It would be.
I mean, let's be real. But, as we have these doors open, 25 seconds before the control point becomes active, and Asking now back on this Reaper that we saw just briefly in the matches prior.
I think that's really smart, though. This is really complements the death ball that they're going with the Salty and Mikey on the Reinhardt and the Orisa, respectively.
And the Reinhardt still continuing to deal significant damage, with that Discord Orb causing a lot of problems here on the front, having to retreat back. Asking now, looking for a flanking opportunity here, sneaking in the backside, looking for that chance to take down Zik on that Mei. Has to regroup towards the lower section. The Orisa now the primary focus with the Fortify active, going to go down with Hydron getting the execution as this now point changes in favor of Skyfoxes and really starting to push the boundaries of this with Third Impact finally now able to try and turn it back with Carter still on the high ground here.
You do have to be a bit patient here. I mean, yeah, Third Impact's trying to take it back, but Skyfoxes is still putting up a heck of a fight here.
Yes, indeed. Almost 20%. You have Carter on the point. Really just looking to take down this Lucio, who is utilizing that wall to buy enough time for practically the entire team of Skyfoxes to get back onto this point. Salty and Mikey getting very, very overrun, though. And it will be Asking with a quad kill to shut down anyone in sight with 36% and increasing.
So Crusade just did a good job there of buying time on the point for the remaining members, the reinforcements of Skyfoxes to come back. And now Asking was hoping to have the Death Blossom online for this push, but they won't do so. They will have to force the Immortality Field here.
5%. Blizzard online for Zik. Moving up the flanking position. Icy going to lead with that Flux to try and lift multiple members around the corner. It's going to be the Reaper actually evading as the Death Blossom comes out the flanking side. Will get the pick despite that damage because of the kinetic grasp mitigating most of it. The shield blocking also Salty's Earthshatter can't get the pick needed with multiple members going down on the side of Skyfoxes. Third Impact getting some momentum, but finding themselves in a similar position as they did on downtown with 77% for Skyfoxes.
70% for Skyfoxes. They do have a Blizzard online, though, but there is an answer, a response from Third Impact, which will be that Transcendence. And Zolek, though, with a quick pick. This is going to be Third Impact's map to continue to hold here, at least for these moments.
So, like, really just going to use that May wall to try and sever the team, pushing forward, blocking and mitigating some damage, just really trying to run the clock. And again, the ultimate economy is still in favor of Third Impact. As said, Carter having that Dragon Strike could look for an opportunity for a halt Dragon Strike combination, especially with this wall right now. But actually it's going to be the combination of both the Dragon Strike and into the hole with Icy getting the double accretion kill on the supports. What a great coordinated play with those ultimates, but I still feel there was a lot committed to that.
There was a lot committed to that, but this is really where Third Impact is trying to just, you know, get some ultimates out there. They had been holding on to quite a few, and now they need to kind of get back on the rotation, even though they're off kilter. They do have the amplification matrix as well as the blizzard, and this time there is going to be a blizzard for Third Impact where there isn't for Skyfoxes, but the sound barrier might be more impactful here.
Ooh, early kill onto the May with that amplification matrix. Could not get the ground freeze off in time. Supercharger to try and contest with the sound barrier as well. Flux going to lift multiple members as Carter will get the shot early on the Mudkip. Trying to regroup. It's surpassing percentage in just a moment for Third Impact. This is last fight territory now for Skyfoxes, and Third Impact is in a very good position.
Third Impact is in a good position. This is going to be last fight territory, but there's no ultimates online just yet. If Skyfoxes can come back in here, use the dragons, use the amplification matrix, especially with the pull right now.
Dragon Strike through the back end. Immortality Field keeping the team alive. With that May and Baptiste play on the high ground, you've got Icy looking to try and still rain some damage overhead, but Skyfox is looking to strip this point away from Third Impact in the overtime on the low ground, getting a nice pick here onto Zik. Will turn it around. Staggered kills coming out as Salty gets another. And asking, really looking for some value here to get a great staggered pick before the next contest.
This next contest might actually be really tough because they're coming down to the wire, and look at the way that the team of Third Impact is trying to engage. They're trying to go all the way around, right into forbidden clocks.
Huge lift. Immortality Field needs to get taken down just in time, managing to do so, but the Transcendence is there by Elris to keep that team alive, but so many members are still getting pushed away. Nobody able to touch it, and Skyfoxes not out of gas just yet and keeping this movement forward.
Play of the game.
What a play, though, by Carter. Big personality in the Overwatch scene, but an even bigger player. This was a huge helping hand to Icy, getting the double with the accretion in this play of the game. And you also just saw some really beautiful moments from Carter's Dragon Strikes, not only used as zoning ultimates, but also to just secure kills. So this is definitely going to be a tough one. I don't think that this first map is indicative of the entire series, but who knows, because we always know that when it comes down to any map that contains a payload, things tend to get a little bit messy.
They do. And going into this next one, again, it will be an escort. We've seen a heavily favored selection of Rialto versus Junkertown. We've been just in our last matchup where we had that played with a lot of the double hit scan. We had the, you know, Widow. We had that combination, but a variation with that Junkertown is selected. But Rialto, one of the biggest things is just seeing the amount of Pharah play and value of that early point roll. Cross that bridgeway, being able to knock over multiple members into the water, getting those environmental kills. We saw it substantially 2 matches earlier from Lemon Kiwi and Hurix that they were watching, just repeated battering of teams. And it's really interesting to see how these two are going to head-to-head moving forward between this escort. Escort changes a lot of the playing power.
This is, remember the last series that we watched when we talked about looking at a team that likes to set up versus a team that likes to go with the momentum push. This is really where we see a bit of a difference between those two when it comes down to an escort or a payload map. I think that with the choice of Rialto, though, which is what we're going to see from these teams, we are going to see a bit of a switch up as well, with Skyfoxes going to defend first and Third Impact attacking. I think this is really where Skyfoxes wants to kind of take advantage of those vantage points that the map of Rialto can kind of give you or afford you. I'm a little curious as to why Third Impact maybe made this decision, but maybe they've got a plan that I know nothing about.
I was going to say, because it is scary, especially with Hydron being very combatant with that Pharah play. On the defense first has a lot of presence on this early payload push. I'm I'm a little concerned for Third Impact going into this. They've already had a little bit of a struggle going against Skyfoxes because they're coming in, you know, fresh. They haven't had nearly as much experience today going head to head. Where Skyfoxes, this is just stroll around the park at this point, and they're going to try and use everything they've got on this defensive side. And I would not be surprised to see Hydron coming out on that Pharah play.
Yeah, Pharah might be a bit of a good asset here for the team of Skyfoxes, but you've got to pay attention to Carter, who did just get that play of the game and had a lot of impact for the team of Third Impact. So I would say that even if Hydron decides to run a Pharah here, it's not just an easy win.
It's really not, and with this 20 seconds still to go as we wait to see what the looking to, we're also going to remind you, if you'd like to find out more about the exclamation point events that they do have going on, along with some lovely watch parties soon with the Overwatch League coming up soon, don't forget to type in exclamation point mayhem in the channel to find out more about the Discord information as we take a lovely look at this fashionable dress wear inside of the shop here.
I don't know if I would wear something like that.
I would.
You would? Alright, if you do, then I have to. At the next LAN that we do, we will dress in fashion.
I'm more of a old school barred kind of ruffled sleeve kind of guy, where I would just love to have the poofy sleeves just kind of flailing in the wind as I talk about The Witcher and tossing a coin at him, for all those out there that have that stuck in your head, because I still do since I've seen it. Because tossing a coin at your Witcher is definitely a way to go.
That is absolutely a way to go. But here's where we're going. We're going to Rialto now, where we do see Skyfoxes set up on the defense. And of course, as we talked about, there is that Pharah, and there is that quick pick from Mikey. They're playing this so clinically between the two, and I would also worry about the bridge, but here's Carter now coming out of the Widowmaker to be able to contest not only Asking, but Hydron in the skies.
Indeed, and again, we've got that switch, so you do see just consistent applied pressure from those rockets, really looking for that concussion rocket to knock off multiple members to gain some early percentage. Ooh, the Widow pick! Oh, Carter's gonna find it! On to Asking! Oh my goodness, that was nutty. Hoping to see more of that as the applied pressure still forces this team of Third Impact into the courtyard.
We'll be forcing them into the courtyard, but this is going to be a really tough spot, I think, for Skyfoxes to kind of come back to, because now that you've got the momentum generated from Third Impact, you really have this beautiful straightaway that this card is rounding the corner to. There you can get more sight lines. Carter can kind of take a flank here, and yeah, look at all the damage incoming. They're not coming back healthy to this one.
Yeah, it's very difficult to sustain the amount of health from the absolute serious amount of damage that's being thrown out. But Asking in a flanking, but whoa, 6 man, you may got a bullet, but I got an icicle. And you're gonna go down, friend, as you have a lot of momentum still forward from Third Impact, making a really great stride in this push.
Buying themselves a lot of time, and this is important on the side of the attack, being able to take those corners that give you those straight sight lines, because you're already set up on the cart. You can just kind of hit your mouse 1 and shoot away, whereas you will see Skyfoxes have to kind of take some time to walk and get set back up here. And also the high ground advantage is yours if you're Third Impact.
4 minutes and 30 seconds still to work with. This turning point is very, very difficult from the attacking position. The defensive side has the advantage. There's a shot by the Rockets coming out, almost able to take down Carter. But a nice actual turnaround here coming out from Asking, getting the double. Here comes another pick here from the May play. Just in the back, free farming with the ice. And just really trying to make some work. Cannot be enough, though, as Asking, along with Mudkip, work in tandem to clear the way for this continued push.
Now, Mudkip ended up doing so much there, not only getting the healing onto the team to keep them alive, but also getting the res, as well as switching between the damage boost and the healing so effectively. Those two streams end up being really important when you're playing that Mercy.
Very much so, looking for the environmental kill. Ooh, just gonna dodge out of the way, though. Hydron getting very, very low. Has to be careful. Carter will get picked off regardless of the infra site available to see where Asking was. Nice flux to try and drop a few members. The drop down potentially there, but Asking still finding some sightlines with the damage boost as well. Immortality field has to be forced by Third Impact, and this consistent applied pressure from Asking really causing a lot of problems for the side of Third Impact.
We often see this sometimes with high-level Widowmaker play. Is it worth having a Widowmaker on your team if it's not going to provide you any point presence? Because Carter's spending so much time dealing with Asking on the Widowmaker that he's not really helping to shield break or provide the team with sightlines onto the enemy members of Skyfoxes. So you can see that Carter, you know, playing around with the idea here, wants to give the Widowmaker one more shot, but was thinking about the Hanzo dip for a little while.
Almost getting the kill onto the Mercy, but barely staggering away. You've got Carter almost trying to outmatch the Pharah play. The chase in the end, the great escape is not there, with Asking still managing to hold on the front with the triple kill. Unbelievable!
Oh my goodness. I mean, what do you say after that? I feel like a play like that speaks for itself. So let's talk about the future. How does Third Impact break through this formidable defense? And has a lot to do with rotating through those shields just a little bit better. But also Hydran, having to deal with Hydran here. I think Carter switching over to the Hanzo was a good idea because you gotta watch out for these Pharah barrages and
really
deal with Pharah.
And now that the rocket barrage is available, playing very close to that bridgeway, the drop down is ideal. Looking for this flank, repositioning. There's a concussion mine going to drop down ever so gently. And rockets rain from above, but the accretion shield is there and still survives. Nobody can damage this play from the Pharah at all with an entire team kill. And Third Impact really having a tough time right now.
This second point, Third Impact ended up with 4.5 minutes on the clock. Skyfox has already eaten 3 of those and is continuing to do so.
Just a monster. Asking is just on fire right now and has the infra to deal even more scolding damage.
I mean, Mudkip's choosing the right targets here for that damage boost. Oftentimes you see a lot of Mercies stick to the Pharah like glue, but there's a lot of value to be had from damage boosting Asking because they're just able to delete members of Third Impact left and right.
Lifting multiple members into the air, it could be a chance for that consistent damage from Asking, but the Rockets still continuing to... This crossfire is just unreal. Asking now with Crusade working in tandem, just causing so much problem. You have Zik having to run and completely just bail any sort of opportunity as there's 30 seconds left to go.
30 seconds left. Third Impact, this is going to be their last chance. They have a lot of tools to be able to kind of fix this, and Carter actually taking Hydran out here is going to deny the ability to res Hydran back into this fight, who was working up to that the Pharah barrage.
Yeah, that positioning for the death was absolutely critical to prevent that res opportunity, as the Blizzard's going to most likely come out here on the front, turn in the corner once the Flux becomes activated. Payload still pressing forward. You've got that Sigma being brought down. Carter finding huge value with Icy to soon follow up. Carter now trying to handle that Pharah play in the back and manages to get the pick. No res near. With this payload in overtime, you cannot allow Third Impact to get off this point to keep it pushing, but Skyfox is not out of it yet and will have a good full 6 encounter just before the point.
Third Impact didn't have to use too much there either, so they still have ultimates online to be able to use here. Mikey can barely get away with that wall. Zig's doing so much work on this May.
Almost getting overrun on the front side, using that cryo freeze to survive through the immortality field. Comes out the boop into the dragon strike from the low ground. Oh my goodness, Zolik helping out intensely to get that extra damage onto the 2 front tanks. Mudkip now with the Valkyrie coming to an end. The Discord is there. The checkpoint is reached, 1 minute and 15 seconds, and the bell shall toll for Third Impact.
Now seeing a bit of an adjustment here from Skyfoxes, recognizes that Asking's not going to get the same amount of value with the Widowmaker anymore because of those long sightlines don't exist. Going to be going to a bit more of a close quarter composition, and already showing us that with how effective that Hanzo can be as the team of Third Impact gets closer to this final point.
All's going to try and pull Icy back to the front. Can't manage to do so. Nice evasion of the incoming damage. Going to have the kinetic grass up in just a second, but will not get it in time. Salty now forcing the team of Third Impact back. 40 seconds, last fight territory, lot still to be done.
There is a lot that has to happen here with 30 seconds left. Third Impact doesn't have much time to accomplish those goals, but Icy's gonna have the Gravitic Flux. You've got the Supercharger as well. Both of these ultimates can work so well in tandem, and of course, the illustrious Blizzard online for Third Impact with no Zenyatta ultimate there.
Flux to Flux, getting a lot of value with the drop, but will have the Immortality Field there to keep multiple members alive, but the Blizzard immediately after, since the Immortality Field was no longer available, is an opportunity here for Third Impact. The timing of their usage of ability was absolutely on point, and now looking to try and complete this with an entire team kill, and that bell tolling a second time.
The bell has tolled a few times here. Hopefully the bell hasn't tolled completely for Skyfoxes. You see the Sonic Arrow at the door, just showing Third Impact where they're coming from, but the Dragons as well.
Right down the center, the Zenyatta going to not have that Transcendence available, holding on to it and diverting out of the way. The Immortality Field just enough that the Transcendence now leads in. Harassed in the back. You've got Zix on the front with the Tracer trying to get some extra damage as that Dragon Strike comes to the right-hand side. The Supercharger will get some extra push potential and allow that completion. Mudkip not able to touch it in time. And that will be at least the completion regardless of it being in overtime.
It is going to be a completion. That is what Third Impact was looking for. But now Skyfoxes has the behemoth of a task to deal with Third Impact's defense. That's really what has killed teams in the past, having to deal with Third Impact on the Bastion side of things. And now this is where kind of the test of strength, right, Rich?
It really is. And honestly, I feel that you are still going to have this Pharah play come out because even though, again, like you said, on the defensive side, there has been a lot more in for Third Impact. Skyfoxes still, I think, have a really good advantage with how well they've been playing the pharmacy composition to really dislodge this defensive hold by Third Impact.
I think the Pharah play has been pretty critical here. Hydran has been such a great addition to the team for this tournament, where not only do they show us the flexibility on the Doomfist, the Mei, the Pharah, but they also seem to fit in like a glove. I don't really see holes in the plans that Skyfoxes come out with. Maybe sometimes you see things that are a little bit off-timed, particularly when we're looking at Mikey's Orisa halts there at just when the eyes turn towards that specific location. But otherwise, I think Hydran has been able to engage the enemy well and also draw attention away from the front line so that the shield battle can be won by their team.
Lots of damage coming out early to try and break both of the barriers on the defensive side. You've got the rockets raining overhead. Quick attention to that Carter throwing out storm arrows to try and get the pick necessary to prevent those damage. But UC asking early, finding the pick. The focus is on Hydron, allowing Asting to get that sightline necessary to bring down these members on the front side. The Maywall, though, Isaac really trying to block some sightlines. And Asking takes out Carter. This is what I said. Just consistent damage overhead. No one there. And the second that anyone looks to either try to dodge, Asking, Hydran gets so much damage with these rockets.
Yeah, and this Mei just here to stall a little bit, but ultimately getting it taken out as well. And Hydran built up to this fire barrage in a quick succession here. Not even 20 seconds to be able to get that online. So as Third Impact comes back into this fight, they're going to be walking into a lot of artillery coming in from Skyfoxes. And already those dome shots, what a beautiful sound.
You hear it, and it sounds glorious as the follow-up comes from overhead. The rockets raining to get the execution. There's another for a triple. And you just see Skyfoxes just moving this like a locomotive.
This is so fast. I mean, we talked about how Revival likes to play with momentum, but now that Skyfoxes is playing against a separate team, they look like a whole separate beast. This payload is moving quite quickly here, and you also see Crusade just doing a great job of checking all the flanks. Carter does get a final blow onto Asking here with the Orb of Discord, and I think that's kind of what Third Impact was missing, was that focus fire.
rotation now trying to collapse on the few numbers that are in the back. The Immortality Field is there to manage it with the Blizzard going to be coming out. This is one of the difficult positions. This is the same area that Third Impact had a trouble on the defensive, or the attacking position as well, with Asking a great defensive position. Now, the tables have turned. Asking being forced back, not going to have the sightlines necessary, and Icy gets the kill. Can Third Impact force out 3 minutes just as Skyfoxes did in the round prior?
Well, Skyfoxes hasn't had to use much of any ultimate so far, but because they waited so long, there's a lot of answers on the side of Third Impact that they're working up to. You've got the Transcendence from Elris, you're going to have the Amplification Matrix as well as the Supercharger and the Gravitic. The only difference here that we really have is that Skyfoxes has the Pharah and can use this barrage.
Flux now, the Rocket Barrage going to come from behind the doorway, looking to see if they can get forces out the Transcendence before even using the Rocket Barrage. Going to go way hard into this engage. No longer having the Rocket Barrage, or correction, the Transcendence for the Rocket Barrage, but no, you get sick on the back line, hyper-focusing the Pharah. No damage, wearing off even more time and partially some of the ultimate economy.
And that was a huge, I think, wear on the ultimate economy. Skyfoxes had to invest so much into that fight, and they got no value from it. Even the barrage. Hydrant using it, though, in order to switch off, maybe going over to a May that's going to be a little bit better for this specific scenario.
A lot of volley on the high ground. The Dragon Strike down the bridgeway, trying to get some benefit with that Supercharger on the low ground, just reaching the Hanzo play, with now Zola needing to be very careful, dropping down to get behind the barrier as an aggression comes out from Skyfoxes, finding a huge turnaround opportunity to keep this payload pushing and just surpass this difficult corner.
Tough corner. Now that the payload is on its way, though, this is kind of where the defense starts to struggle just a little bit. That defensive corner is just so strong of a position to hold, and now the agency is really in Skyfox's hands.
Reaching on the front, gets a stun and the kill with it, as there's 3 minutes to go. Almost having another Dragon Strike to enter into this fight. The Doof is stunned onto the McCree, almost getting the pick, manages to do so before the flashbang engages, as the Transcendence now double kill coming out from Hydra. Again, we talked about the wheelhouse that is in this individual's hands, and now the Doof is coming out trying to gain some value, is really working, but still has 2 minutes to get back to this payload to push only 2.4 meters.
And the fact that Third Impact was able to stabilize here means that they can kind of get a bit more aggressive with their hold, go back up to the corner, and see if they can get some damage onto the enemy team of Skyfoxes before they move in. But what Icy's really doing right now, as well as Decod, is they're just getting some scouting, getting some positioning here. Carter in the back spot's asking for sure.
That Hanzo v Hanzo play is going to be critical. You definitely want Carter to surpass that, knowing how well they've been playing. In 30 seconds, you've got Hydra now switching from that Doofus to the May for that potential to freeze and lock down multiple members. The Flex. Oh, Flux going to allow an early sideline here for Hydra to get that pick with the Icicles. The wall severs even more members of the team. Carter in the back needing to be careful. Here's the damage. The melee just going to miss. A sliver of health remaining. The Discord orb is there, and Carter will go down. And checkpoint is reached with 2 minutes and 40 still to work with.
That's a lot of time. That's a lot more time than Third Impact had when they were able to make it to this point. So you know that Skyfoxes can afford to take a couple of losses in team fights here, but I really want to see them carry through with this momentum, because Third Impact had to just make quite a few decisions to change up their composition, or at least like change up how they're going to be approaching this specific team fight. And Skyfoxes still has so much agency moving forward, where they have the Transcendence and the Supercharger able to zone out a lot, or just secure those kills for Skyfoxes as they move into the final portion of this map.
Mortality Field surviving through most of that damage. Skyfox now having it lost. Transcendence having to be forced into this. A Dragon Strike from the side, getting some extra damage for Salty to get the pick here onto Icy. With a minute and 50 to go, you see this potential flank. The Blizzard not yet available, looking for the opportunity, but we've got the Transcendence forced now. That would have been a huge opportunity if only Skyfox could have survived through that early engage, forcing out the Transcendence by Elris.
Yeah, the fact that they forced out the Transcendence is good, but it means that they still don't have too many tools. This is a tough one when you're playing as Zenyatta in this matchup, because do you save it for the Blizzard Or do you save it for the Dragon Strike, or do you save it for the Gravitic Flux? It's kind of what it comes down to. There's so many different choices. So Elris had to make a decision there, had to use it a little bit more reactively here in order to keep control of this defense. But Skyfoxes is still moving in with a lot of those different choices that the Transcendence would have been a great reactionary choice for, but now they don't have that tool.
60 seconds to go. The Flux is available, looking to get a few members into it. That would be critical to open into a huge halt. The full, only one though. The Fortify is there to survive through it. Carter with a Dragon Strike straight to the side, still claiming one onto Asking. And Salty trying to get a side position for some Crossfire here as the Flux will come out and return as Hydra gets the Blizzard. Fortify forced by the Orisa. Icy getting overrun, but does not go down just yet as the two will be brought out of the fight early. Carter and Icy no longer there, just under 10 meters to work with 20 seconds to go. And Third Impact really playing this back stairway where the pillars are strategically, but the Dragon Strike comes through. The Transcendence coming out a moment too late, but still going to yield some value for these two as the respawn advantage in favor of Third Impact.
Respawn advantage has been working in their favor as Skyfoxes hasn't been able to secure these kills fast enough, but we did see a swing in the team fight there with the Dragon Strike, and now I think Skyfoxes is going to be able to take this.
Under 5 meters to go, the Wrecking Ball spin to win in the center. Those pillars are going to cause a lot of problems as the numbers go in favor of Skyfoxes. One after another, 5-player killing streak just under a meter, manages to get it, and that is round 2 completed with 60 seconds for both teams.
Score.
Whoever wins this series is not going to make it easy for the other one, that's for sure.
Nope. Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you.
That's definitely what these two teams are singing right now, because look at this. A minute remaining. Both of these teams securing that third point in overtime. It all really comes down to who wins these first opening points of the fight. You gotta get those quick picks, and if it goes anything like we saw before, Asking is gonna give Third Impact a lot of trouble.
Yeah, the neutral fight is going to be absolutely absurd to see how these teams come out. We're both going to have the Widowmaker committed to this, most likely. You see on the defensive side, we've got the Pharah play early. Not surprised at all by that for some potential environmental kills right out the gate. We've already seen Skyfoxes exert some huge dominance here on the defensive position. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Third Impact comes out this doorway with the 60 seconds to work with.
60 seconds. That's not too much time to work with, but you're absolutely right about the neutral being the most important. I think that especially when you're looking at the high pick potential that Skyfoxes has, you know, Carter has a lot of weight to carry on his shoulders right now. You got to deal with both Hydrant and Asking, and also deal with Shield Break.
Dick now on the backside, getting a slow movement onto that Mercy. Almost getting a full clip there, not going to be able to get the pick, but we've also got the regroup here by the Wrecking Ball as well. Both going to look for an opportunity. That Widowmaker on the high ground almost gets the pick. Far just barely misses that. With a counter pick, Asking finding Carter. And that's an opportunity that might just spell disaster here for Third Impact. But the takedown onto Asking is critical. That Wrecking Ball play is going to really speak volumes right now.
It is, because it's also denying the Resurrect potential, so Asking has to come back on the Tracer.
Ooh, but now you get the kill. Salty taking down the ball quickly after that accretion stun. You got Elris on the front trying to just keep this team alive near the payload. The sleep in the back, just looking for any sort of assistance. The overtime going to commence here shortly as Hydra on the high ground consistently rains rockets onto the back line, taking down the Ana, looking for a second. The displacement to try and maneuver away as the numbers start to finally stack in the defensive position of Skyfoxes. No one home from Third Impact except the Tracer blade, bobbing and weaving, which will not be able to do too much more, and that will be the end of that payload push at just under 45 meters.
45 meters isn't too much to go here, but now we are going to be switching sides, and who knows if we do see the ability of Third Impact to just kind of take control of the game, then they might be able to tie up the score here. But as it stands, Skyfoxes is sitting at a 1-up lead right now to Third Impact from the very first map that we played. And I think Skyfoxes wants to run away with this then. They've been playing for a long time today, Rich. They want to shut it down right now.
Oh yeah, they are in the home stretch and they know it. They are saying we have gone one game after another, climbing this brick wall to the grand finals here with now 60 seconds on this second map, looking to get 2 points out of the best of 5. And I am so looking forward to seeing how Third Impact responds to this, because for how well Skyfoxes has been playing and what a great hold defensively on this first push, it's tall order for Third Impact.
Still going with high pick potential here for Skyfoxes. So it's going to matter a lot that Carter ended up picking this Hanzo play, but it doesn't just come down to Carter, right? You know, we talked about how the DPS versus DPS is pretty important, but I think it also comes down to how the rest of the team plays around these shields and around this architecture. And Hydra's gonna get so aggressive here, just going behind the team. There's really no response.
Instantly, just gonna jump right over the accretion, almost actually helping. But you see what's happening is the damage raining overhead immediately forces the retreat here, allowing space for Skyfoxes to push this forward. Still consistent damage, just about to reach the checkpoint already. Nobody close enough, has to get near it to try and counter this Necra.
They have to get near it, but what are they going to be walking into? Hydran is waiting right there with rockets and salties from behind.
The flank being so critical, redirecting the positioning of the wall to try and block the rocket barrage, coming in with one, wanting to get the second, but no, it will be triple in total. Regardless, the kill comes through. The res by Mudkip. Hydron on the front side, still raining damage just under 2 meters. The picks continue to come in, and that is Skyfoxes stripping the second map away of Third Impact to go into match point.
Match point. Skyfoxes wants to end it here, but Asking did so much work on this Widowmaker. We owe this play some respect.
Uno! 2.5. 3.25. 2, 3! I can't even count. There's the Zen! Oh, the peak! Oh, it doesn't matter. I can't count. We just saw all of that. It's okay. I was like, yeah, half, 3/4. No, no, 1, half, 2. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Rich, we got there. It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. You know what? I can't gift you with math, but I can gift you with something, the information about Gift of Life, where we will have our nonprofit partner here with a mission of curing patients with blood cancer illnesses, including leukemia and lymphoma. And again, as Necra said earlier, it's a chance where we come together, and the goal is to bring awareness to this issue and get donors to swab their inner mouth in hopes that they're finding a match to make sure that there is a donor for bone marrow to help multiple individuals that we do still need care to. And again, you can take action by doing !gift. In addition, you can also find out more about the Mayhem organization, not only events, but also Overwatch League, by doing !Mayhem. But besides that, we have another match coming up where we're going to see if Third Impact can turn this whole thing around.
Can they turn it around?
It's gonna be a tall order here for how well Skyfoxes have been playing.
That's kind of my whole point, though, is that Skyfoxes, they just took out a massive team, which is the team of Revival that Third Impact actually ended up putting down into the lower bracket. Now Skyfoxes has fought their way through the ranks, through the ringer, to get up to the grand finals, and they want it all, Rich. They want those 3 one-off tournament wins under their belts, and they're on such a strong path to do so.
And where are we going? We're going to King's Row. It's gonna be great. I have the biggest grin on my face, and I know that we are all just indulging in it, because King's Row, we actually saw a ton of this during Breakable Barriers. So this is a very comfortable pick for map selection in this hybrid choice. And honestly, we've seen a ton of Eichenwald. We haven't really seen too much of Hollywood, and King's Row, we've really seen a scarcity as well for this versus what we've seen prior in Breakable Barriers ever since the changeover that happened with the reduction in the values. Going into this map, Third Impact picking this, I'm really curious to see how it's going to help bode in their favor, because there's still a lot of advantages for Skyfoxes here.
Well, the most played hero that DCOD plays for the team of Third Impact is Reinhardt. So it's very, very possible that we see Reinhardt play come out here, maybe a bit more. It's also DCOD's favorite, so maybe we see some Reinhardt play here. So I expect that might be a bit of a reason why Third Impact decided to pick the map of King's Row. Now, whether or not DCOD actually gets a chance to play Reinhardt is going to be up to Skyfoxes, and whether or not they can really check that. It's also possible DCOD just decides, hey, I don't think that this Reinhardt's going to work. It might not because we're playing against Skyfoxes, so may as well just go with the tried and true of what they have in play.
It's very true. And again, it's also really difficult that when you're going into a map like this, and like you said, they've got the favoritism for the Reinhardt. They know they have a confidence in playing it, especially on this type of map that they're going in. Higher map here on Rialto. You're at the point of, do you risk it? It's final map potentially. A high risk, high reward. At this point, since you already know you're down 2, and it's those kind of questions that really speak volumes going into matches like this. And I'm really, like you even said, curious to see if they'll stick with it. Because I still think that Skyfoxes, you know, for as much as confidence as you could see the Reinhardt play, there's still a lot of opportunities. And the that Skyfoxes have had, and you made the comment too, they've inherited this type of aggression that has worked so well for them that we've seen from Revival earlier.
I think that aggression has helped out a lot for Skyfoxes, particularly playing against Third Impact, because if you were tuning in even yesterday, Third Impact was the aggressive team. Third Impact was the one that, with the setup, they were able to, on defense, just continue some superior holds against their teammates. And I don't know. I don't know if Third Impact was quite ready for this new and improved Skyfoxes that we're seeing for this second match of theirs in our set that we've gotten a chance to cast. But who knows? It is King's Row after all, so I think I'm going to expect to see a bit more, maybe a bit more Pharah play here if we're really, really lucky. Hydran 1 playing that on the attack, but it is going to be Skyfoxes on the defense once again to see if they can set the goalpost for this map.
And the adrenaline's high. They're sitting there.
Oh, yeah.
They're saying, we've come back this far. We have come back and gotten 2 maps over Third Impact. The amount of adrenaline that is in these players, regardless of the fatigue, is, I can guarantee you, superseding that just exhaustion of playing, mind you, about 4+ hours of Overwatch. And
it's a lot.
That's extensive. I mean, you're talking about one thing where, I mean, don't get me wrong, we all go into comp and we have our moments where we play a few rounds and we get a little salty and we walk away from it. But you're playing with a coordinated team that is working in tandem to really try and reach this #1 spot of $4,500 and the recognition of the Mayhem Winter Classic. And you know that they're just sitting there on the edge of their seat, just like we are when we cast it, looking to claim this win. And it's just exhilarating to see it. And with Third Impact, like I said, there's a lot riding on this third map and gonna have to pull out all the stops.
All the stops necessary to be pulled here if Third Impact wants to have a chance at that $4,500. But Mudkip starting things off strong, and these Maywalls not going to do much except distract the team of Skyfoxes.
Yes, indeed, and they're going to continue to do that, getting a little bit of a lock screen on my side. So, Necro, let's exactly see what's going on here for you.
Well, we are going to be seeing Skyfoxes take control. This Asking is just trying to break that experimental barrier from Icy at the moment. And, oh, the halt, though, coming out here is going to be the perfect target there for some of the volleys coming out from Mudkip and that Discord Orb as well, able to take the flank and really get this going. But...
And the early double kill coming out by Carter is going to be critical. Again, 3 minutes and 10 seconds here still to work with on this attack here for Third Impact. You see almost a tick finally going to get it, with Skyfoxes being very overrun right now.
Very overrun. Elris playing the Zenyatta right now has been such a pain for Skyfoxes, but Mudkip's been able to keep up the pace with not only the Orbs of Discord, but also doing some of that damage of their own here. But Third Impact was able to take control of that with using the Amplification Matrix and just, you know, really getting this cart rolling. I think there's a lot of momentum that's been generated for this specific fight.
Yes, indeed. Just at the 5-minute marker to work with as you have Third Impact starting to maneuver just past the bookstore. Dragon Strike going to come through, getting some great damage here onto Carter, but that Immortality Field is here. And again, you have 4 minutes and 50 seconds to work with, a lot of time. So even if this fight isn't going in your favor, you've got the chance to fall back.
You do have a little bit of a chance to fall back here, and the respawns are going to be a bit closer here for third impact. So yeah, Skyfoxes is going to be able to get the better of this fight, but third impact's going to be able to come back very quickly here into the next one.
And honestly, you know, the ultimate economy is still working in their favor right now, Necra.
It is still working in their favor. Third Impact has a lot of tools to work with here, particularly Carter's Dragon Strike. You also have the Blizzard as well, but Mudkip is ready. This is where Mudkip needs to make a decision. Where do you use this Transcendence?
And you have some damage in the back, though. Asking, trying to get a lot of value, reaching now that 4-minute and 5-second marker. 4 ultimates for Third Impact here. Both support ultimates gone. Skyfox is really trying to hold on here, and it's just nice pick as well here coming from Asking.
Nice picks. Good control. Skyfox is showing a lot of patience here, and Third Impact as well. They could have popped Q, but they decided not to. Elris is the only one using the Transcendence here, as well as the Amplification Matrix, so both support ultimates are going to be gone because of the Blizzard and Gravitic used on the side of Skyfoxes, but now it's time for Third Impact to come in with the Gravitic.
And with that amount of time remaining, you do see a Transcendence at least available by Mudkip here. Going to see if the engagement is there. Will force it out to try and prevent that incoming damage. And honestly, you just see Third Impact doing a stellar job to keep this pushing forward.
Stellar job pushing forward. Now we can see Third Impact getting a little bit aggressive here in order to kind of take away some of that space from Skyfoxes. Skyfoxes is going to have another chance to recontest, though, based on how the pace of this cart is moving and where the cart actually is. Respawns as well. Amplification Matrix, though, and the Blizzard are going to work really well for Third Impact to keep this cart rolling.
Yes, indeed, and if this checkpoint going to be reached, it's going to be a decent amount of time bank. You have 4 minutes and 15 seconds to work with, pushing through the tail end of this to try and make sure that you can reach the end for Third Impact, and they are in a great spot to keep this aggression forward, but this turning corner is going to be very difficult for the last few moments.
Is going to be a bit difficult because now this is where Skyfoxes has the ability to use this respawn to their advantage. Elris, though, is making sure this can't happen. Going to be able to get some really good shots on here. Carter taking a bit of a flank as well, but I do worry about now Skyfoxes having the ability to kind of answer some of these ultimates coming up with Third Impact.
And the Blizzard really going to be very useful here from Skyfoxes. Will now look to get a follow-up here, collapsing after. And honestly, right now, there is going to be a team kill here. Will be completed. Lovely little wave as well from Skyfoxes, as they've got 3 minutes and 20 seconds now to go.
3 minutes and 20 seconds is still a lot of time to work with, so Third Impact still in a very good position here, and they still haven't hit the button on the Blizzard. This is going to be tough. Now Mudkip's going to be able to have a response.
All right, now again here with that Dragon Strike going to potentially come through. Looking to try and separate, gain some value here. As a Flux will be forced out from Icy. You have a Dragon Strike in return. Still a decent amount of time to go. The Transcendence is ultimately going to be used coming out here from the side of Skyfoxes with that payload just meters away from the tail end of it. And honestly, Carter is going to be able to find a lot of value if they can just get to that high ground to try and pick off any members that come out through the doorway, and that is going to be it. I think we'll see, and that's going to be round 1 completed here.
Round 1 completed with 2.5 minutes left on the clock. Third Impact definitely set the goalpost far, but as we've seen before, Skyfoxes, when they're up to bat, they do have a lot of power under their muscles. We are going to see Skyfoxes now take the attack, and it's very common to see a Pharah come out, even a Widowmaker on the attack, just to see if they can give their team a bit of breathing room by getting some quick picks. So we'll see what happens here, as we do have a team preview going to unlock in a couple of seconds.
And honestly, you know, I'm not really surprised at how well that turned out for Third Impact. And you made a great point of it with how their synergy was selecting this map, the selection of the champion. It just really worked in their favor right now.
I think that's been a huge deal here for Third Impact, but also for Skyfoxes too. Actually not going to see any of the Widowmaker or the Pharah. It is just going to be a bit of a A bit of a mirror here. We do have 25 seconds left to go before the teams do come out here. Gonna be about 20 seconds now. So this is still maybe not completely locked in for these teams, but who knows? I think it's probably about said and done here. And when we've seen the mirror before, Skyfoxes has been able to come out on top versus Revival, but we have not seen a mirror quite yet between Skyfoxes and Third Impact.
And now again with this opportunity here for Skyfoxes to try and get just as good of a time bank. Moving forward to this, it's still a lot. You already see an early pick on fight. Wear down some time early. Still 3 minutes and 40 seconds to work with, though, after that early pick, as you have a just decent flank opportunity for asking to get some potential value.
I'm looking at how this May wall is being used right now and how quickly this mortality field actually came out from Skyfoxes.
Again, rotating around the pillar to try and utilize the best of their ability. Again, now this high ground position too, Salty up top. Really looking for some just opportunity for stun, but asking, getting a double already with the storm arrows. What a huge pick off, looking now for the third and gets it. That was a great opportunity here just to find that window and claim this point. Will look to get it, and you will have them reach that time bank after claiming it of 5 minutes and 25 seconds.
Yeah, we will see that come down just a little bit now that the cart has been unlocked, but you have ultimates now coming online, asking so much work, so much respect being paid towards Third Impact here is going to have the Dragon Strike online now for it straight away, and we also have the Amplification Matrix being answered by Zolik.
And now here comes the Dragon Strike through the wall from asking. You have, again, just under 5 minutes, 4:50 to be precise, with Icy now looking for a stun to try and get that, and you see just a reset here entirely.
Reset's gonna have to happen because you can't push through without those members of the team, but the Gravitic Flux here will be able to at least get...
And now here comes the potential Blizzard. It is going to be Zik on the front side, trying to lock down multiple members, managing to do so, and you will have a recovery here from Third Impact.
Bit of a recovery here. Now you got the stabilization. Team kill Bell in order to reward Third Impact for their efforts. Gravitic Flux wasn't able to do too much here from Skyfoxes, and it might not do too much from Third Impact either because Mudkip does have the Transcendence online. So, you know, this is going to be a bit of a tough one, I think, for Third Impact to hold, especially because Hydran's working up to that Blizzard.
You're going to see now, ooh, yeah, there's that pick. Even exchanges there. And as you have a side position, it will be a pick as well onto Mudkip. Nice follow-up there. And now that you have Icy with the Flux, though, online and active, that's going to be a critical ultimate usage to try and claim it again. 3 minutes and 30 seconds still to go here for Skyfoxes to push this payload forward, having the Blizzard ready for this next engage.
Well, they were going to use the Amplification Matrix too, but asking made sure that wasn't going to be able to take any advantage of that.
No, not at all. It is going to be that Dragon Strike coming out, the Transcendence to survive through a lot of the incoming damage. We've got almost 100% here for Mikey with the Supercharger to use for the attack. And honestly, with just under 3 minutes to, or about 3 minutes to go, it's going to be a still good chance for Third Impact to hold on this defensive side by the bookstore.
Oh, and the Supercharger 2 now coming out here. Skyfox is going to be able to push back a lot of Third Impact.
We have the aggression now here from Hydron, still playing forward with that May, and it's actually allowing this turning point to go in favor of Skyfoxes for the time being, while asking is still going to look for a position on the high ground to try and get some early intel.
Gonna get a bit of an intel here. I think that what they're going to learn though is that there isn't too much if they've been focusing and tracking those ultimates on Third Impact. Skyfox is going to know there isn't too much that they have to worry about for this last part of the fight, so they're safe to use the Amplification Matrix to see if they can get a quick pick.
Discord Orb in the backside. Mudkip really trying to find some value as the Blizzard locks down multiple members here. Third Impact trying to survive under a meter. just about to reach it. With another Flux almost online here from Salty, going to utilize it here up front near the payload. Bandages to get some decent damage, and we do see the follow-up now with 3 minutes and 20 seconds to go.
3 minutes and 20 seconds isn't too much for Skyfoxes to kind of get ahead of Third Impact, though. They got to keep the cart rolling, but now it's Third Impact's turn to use those ultimates and keep them at bay. Like, it has to work up to this Transcendence pretty quickly here, or just avoid the Blizzard entirely. Maybe even just take the L as you reset the ultimate economy for Third Impact.
Nearing that Dragon Strike, you have Asking wanting it with some early intel with that Spectral Error. Here comes the Dragon Strike from both sides, going to be committed to this. Hearing it in the back line from both teams. Crusade having the Amplification Matrix, looking for an opportunity to use it, but once you have the team completely regrouped, Skyfoxes waiting for an entire 6-stack to gain some value and forcing a retreat back here.
Forcing a bit of a retreat, but Asking still has the high ground advantage. It's drawing a lot of attention away from the front line of Skyfoxes. Third Impact, though, still has a lot of ultimates to use.
Flux going to be active to try and knock down a few members from the high ground. The Immortality field is there with a Blizzard Transcendence to counter it. What a cleanup here by Third Impact, finding the picks necessary to shut down Skyfoxes, and I mean, you see Third Impact really wearing down the clock right now.
They are wearing down the clock. We have 1 minute and 50 seconds left, and that is going to be still a decent amount of time to work with, but Skyfoxes to finish this with time left in the bank, and they want another shot at this.
Yes, indeed. Again, with the amount of time remaining, you have now the Blizzard coming out of the backside, going to freeze Carter on the edge of the circle, but no, there is a quick assisted pick here, allowing Asting to get the follow-up. Minute and 25 seconds to go. You've got the backline pick onto the Zenyatta play. Dragon Strike coming up, but you have Asking now getting overrun first. You just see Asking trying to get this Dragon Strike to try and counter against him, but can't manage to do so, with the payload still about to round this corner, and it's being absolutely difficult for anyone on the side of Skyfoxes to get this payload to move forward.
It has been really tough, even though they were able to take out the barriers that just was playing around the architecture so well.
Getting that kill in the back, Salty. The aggressive play on this Sigma from Salty is pretty intense, gonna be honest.
It's been so fun to watch. Salty just goes on the flank and decides to say, hey, I'm taking control of this game, particularly when you are seeing Icy and Decod out of the mixture. Salty just gets so much power and just agency in order to kind of do those flanks.
Amplification Matrix, 30 seconds to go with the Wrecking Ball in the back, looking for a pile drive, knocking up multiple members. That payload going to reach it, 0.2 still remaining. The Transcendence, the only thing allowing it to prevent its movement forward. You've got the Wrecking Ball pile drive just looking to spin to win now for Third Impact, but because it's so close, they're still encountering the wall on the inner side. Blizzard now going to be forced, but a Transcendence to counteract it. Still sticking in the fight. Skyfox is needing to complete it as it's just about to go into the overtime as the clock hits 0.21 meters. You still see Third Impact, though, using the respawn advantage to stick in this Necra.
They are going to be able to stick in this, but the important part is that there is overtime on the clock here for Skyfoxes. Even though they're going to finish it, Third Impact's going to be the only one that has another chance.
Yes, indeed. 2 minutes and 33 seconds to be precise for Third Impact. And there is a lot on the shoulders of Skyfoxes now to try and have a fortified defense to not allow Third Impact to gain anything out of this matchup.
Whew. What a series, though, so far. Third Impact, though, with 2 minutes and 33 on the clock. That's almost a guaranteed first point unless we see something completely Hail Mary here coming out from Skyfoxes. I mean, we saw it on Rialto before, just such a close hold, but this is an assault point as the beginning portion of a hybrid map, and that plays out so differently. You can just get ultimates and overwhelm your opponent.
Really can, and honestly, you know, with this 35 seconds that are here before we can actually see these doors open, Skyfoxes right now are probably like, all right, it's okay, we got this. They picked this map, they had some great plays, they're moving forward. We're gonna try and fortify ourselves and get into a great position because we don't want this to go to map 3. or correction, map 4, if I can count. Remember about that math thing that I said I was good at, and then I failed in fractions, and then now I'm trying to do whole numbers, and I'm still not doing it? That's kind of what's happening. But the defensive side, you're going to see, again, the Mei Hanzo, which I still think is a great selection going into this, and not going to waver away from it.
No, I think this is just kind of what you play right now on King's Row. This is the meta for sure, and ooh, barely able to escape that volley there is going to be asking. That was a close call, but what's not going to be such a close call is going to be those for third impact, taking so much damage on the turn here for King's Row.
2 minutes and 15 now. You've got the kinetic grasp by Salty mitigating the damage. The movement is absolutely critical here from third impact to try and turn this around. Carter gets asking out of the fight. No Hanzo v Hanzo battle remaining. Salty gonna go on a adventure though around the inner portion of that hotel, but now you see third impact just gonna take the point entirely, jumping onto it, having that Mei wall to try and block a lot of the incoming damage and sever the team from Skyfoxes, but Carter still finding some massive value in the flank by Mudkip even to try and take him down as the Discord's on the high ground, can't manage to do so, completely walled off, and nobody's gonna touch it!
Victory.
Third impact able to take it away. The wall acknowledging the flank by the Zenyatta and the fellow teammates, preventing anyone from touching the corner, and the aggression with the halt on the Orisa just allowed complete capture.
I talked a little bit about how ultimates you might be able to overwhelm with that, but maybe you just overwhelm with the Mei.
That's that's fine. You know, it is what it is. I mean, my goodness. I mean, I can't even. Wow. There you go. Third impact coming back with a vengeance.
Oh yeah.
Friends. Skyfoxes, no. We're gonna now try and come back and show you that like we're actually here for a reason. So
they absolutely are though. There's no jokes about that one when we're talking about the fact that Third Impact is here in the grand finals for a reason. They ended up having a remarkable run through the upper bracket right now, but Skyfoxes is certainly giving them a run for their money. It was so close that Skyfoxes ended up having a little bit of time there, but yeah, no time in the bank means that you just don't get a chance at it when that happens. So
yeah, no, not at all. And honestly, with us going into the next map selection, it is going to be Assault. We have seen Hanamura and Temple of Anubis back and forth about evenly through probably the day. I would say maybe more so Temple of Anubis versus Hanamura map. And we saw a little bit of Hanamura earlier between, you know, the two prior teams, and I actually think they're selecting Temple of Anubis. And Temple of Anubis has been very interesting. I know a lot of the time that we saw Unbreakable Barriers, we saw Junkrat, we saw that champ try and bring it in, combining it with, of course, the Mei. I don't think we'll see Junkrat here, but I'm still thinking we're going to find some serious Widow play between Asking and Carter, or Carter just at this point flat out going to say, I'm just going to stick with the Hanzo.
I wonder in this scenario whether you do, like we talked about that choice of, do you really put your resources into dealing with a single Widowmaker on the enemy team, or do you keep it consistent with the rest of the team composition and go, you know what, Hanzo's going to provide the entire team more utility. Let's kind of go with that choice there. So it is going to be a particularly interesting choice. This is going to be Skyfox's choice. I think they would have absolutely preferred to play Revival on the map of Temple of Anubis in that last series there. But we are going to see Skyfoxes choose that now. So I'm excited. I know sometimes I lean into my mic a little bit because I get a little excited and it gets a little loud. But Skyfoxes and Asking play the Widowmaker on Temple of Anubis. That's going to be such a treat to watch.
It really is, and as much as people love to give hate, you know, to Temple of Anubis, it's I like it myself. I played a lot of Widow myself, you know, for the time being, and really enjoy this map. And after seeing how Asking played on this map, or well, the map of Rialto on the Widowmaker, it was really scary. And with Third Impact winning that and Skyfoxes selecting Temple of Anubis, it is not at all, I think, you know, unheard of to see that coming out, and really being able to have potentially, you know, Hydran on this, you know, far up, breaking the barriers quickly on the front side, opening up that sightline for Asking could be very reasonable as well.
I think that could be pretty reasonable. I think that we're still going to see more Widowmaker than anything else. But who knows? Who knows if they kind of read that third impact, it might go with a bit more of the Hanzo Mei centric composition for their attacker defense. It's actually going to be the defense for them to start out on. Then Skyfoxes might go with something a little bit different, just to say, hey, you know what, we read that correctly, and here's our answer to it.
Yeah, and with the defensive side for third impact, I think that's a smart decision. It allows you to really evaluate the type of playstyle that Skyfox is selecting Temple of with and how you're going to do it. And the other big thing that we've talked about too before, and has been a common problem, but again, with a lot of these teams now being tier 2, up in this rank, this really elevated type of quality gameplay, the rotation from that middle high ground back to the point itself on Temple of very difficult for a lot of teams. Once you see that flanking opportunity airway, the transition from that middle ground to the low ground can be very complex for some teams. How well both have been playing. Curious to see if we'll get some more, as we saw earlier, flanking Hanzos or somebody overhead in that archway to the middle high ground. And it'll be great to see if we can find some death from above that is the archer himself.
I mean, it might be salty on the Sigma.
It could be at this point. Let's be real. That's another thing. And you said you love to see it. It's such a weird way. It's such a ballsy play. Like when you're on the Sigma, and that's the only way that I can describe it. Is it's just like, I'm just gonna go. I feel like that's how I want to play all the time. And when I see it, it's exhilarating to have somebody be like, "Nah, I'm good, fam. You go do your stuff over there. Let me do my stuff over here." And then we're going to reconvene, and then we're going to do stuff together.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just kind of the fun part about watching Skyfoxes play, is that they do actually flourish in the 1v1 scenarios. And it's been a little bit more difficult for me to kind of get a read on third impact and how they're doing in those scenarios, because Skyfoxes hasn't created too many of those opportunities.
Very
but
true.
They do love to take their 1v1s, and they definitely like to take the flank on Skyfoxes. And I think that makes the team super exciting to watch.
As we are still waiting for that final agreement on both teams to go into Temple of Anumis, why not take a brief moment and use that exclamation point gift? Yeah. As we've said before, Necra, a Gift of Life is our non-profit partner that has a mission of curing patients of blood cancer illnesses such as leukemia and lymphoma. And again, together, the thing that you definitely highlighted as well is the goal to bring awareness to those and make sure that we have donors to swab the inner portion of their mouth in hopes to finding a match for bone marrow donors. And it is a huge opportunity, a great support to this entire production, everything that is going on in this organization.
Yeah, you
allow individuals. Go ahead, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I think you cut
good.
out a little bit there, so I was just like, I'm ready to talk, and then
No,
I
you're
didn't
good.
know. What I was going to say is that if you use that command exclamation point gift, it will send you to a link that is giftoflife.org/register, where you can get your own, you could donate, be registered to be a donor, and you can also get a kit to test whether or not you're going to be a match for somebody. So I hope that people will decide to do that, because it's such a great cause, and there are a lot of people out there that you could be that gift of life for. So hopefully you'll give that a shot.
Because the world needs more heroes. And you're the heroes, friends. As we now have just under 10 seconds to work with to start getting some insight on what this, defensive position is going to be, with Skyfoxes again being on the attack first and third impact on the defense. And we're going to see Carter on the Hanzo, no surprise, along with basically their entire composition.
Yeah. I think this is just what the meta is right now. It's going to be Hanzo, Mei, Sigma, Orisa, Baptiste, and Zenyatta. And it's because it works so well in tandem together. I mean, just looking at Baptiste alone as a hero centric to this composition, you have so many different ways to utilize that immortality field. It takes off a little bit of the pressure of the Zenyatta to have to save that transcendence for something really specific, but then you sometimes run into those scenarios where you can overwhelm, because there's three big ultimates that you're really saving those ultimates for. It's the Sigma, Gravitic Flux, it's the Blizzard, and it's the Dragon Strike. You don't necessarily see the immortality field getting used to save people from a supercharger, although it can definitely be helpful for that. But the immortality field is going to be used pretty early here by Skyfoxes, just to get through the chokehold.
Yeah, and honestly, you see the separation now of that team member needs to be very careful on looking to regroup, asking, not wanting to be completely away from the team. As you can see, Third Impact really just collapsed down. There's a separation, 2 members wall to wall going into this. Really looking to see who can gain the advantage here. But Boldy Immortality Field is going to be expended. You have the earlier from Third Impact. The drawback is here, and this is what I was talking about. Trying to make sure that as you recede back from that middle high ground, you don't get overrun. And Skyfoxes now with Asking in the back, along with Hydra, getting some huge picks on these DPS with the front line tanks just assisting as a whole. Gonna take this away swiftly with just under 3 minutes and gonna have a hefty time bank of just under 6 going into this next point.
Well, the way that they approach that is kind of the classic, oh, wait a minute.
Oh!
Wait a minute. Asking, please.
I mean, you know, it was a great pick. I guarantee you Carter's feeling that one into next week, but 5 minutes and 30 seconds to work with, and you are have some great damage early with now this reposition of flank opportunity as the amplification matrix comes out from Third Impact to try and funnel a lot of damage there. Rich Red gonna have that amplification matrix seen on Crusade as well. 5 minutes and 10 seconds. Here's a reach. They can't afford. Ooh, well, maybe they're gonna go in for that, Necro.
I think they were just kind of the bait and switch tactic, right? Like, let's see if we can kind of get them to move forward a little bit and then surprise them with that amplification matrix, because I think Skyfox is still trying to roll with the punches on this one.
5 minutes to go. You've got that flux available by Icy. Lifting up multiple members with the Cryo Freeze along with the Fortifies there. Dragon Strike actually going to go before the landing of the flux. And Asking, managing to take down one. Here's the second, looking for the third. The turnaround here, the double Blizzard kill. Just clearing off this point. Skyfoxes, map selection win right now. They have made quite the decision of taking this map because they are dominating over Third Impact.
A lot of that play had to do with when... Okay, so now I can break it down, right? We're not going to get any more surprise Asking Hanzo shots into the abyss. Yeah. Okay, so first point. Really well executed by Skyfoxes. You had the tanks creating space and allowing Asking as well as Hydran to pop off. When we moved on to the second point, that's when things got really interesting. You saw the bait and switch where we did see the investment of the amplification matrix, which might have come as a surprise, but that was incredibly tactical by Skyfoxes. They ended up getting a quick pick with that, and it was after you really did have the resurrect timer decrease because of the cap of first point. So it bought some time. It gave Skyfoxes a numbers advantage, and then once they saw the immortality field disappear, Zolik hit that so early, it was just all for the pickings. Ours wasn't close to have a response yet.
Definitely. And you know, as we are now looking to see the swap, oh wow, we're gonna have Asking going on the Ash. We get to cast an Ash.
I'm about it. We get it again. We get it again.
The interesting thing is we saw it on the Assault map too for Hanamura, where Bob was present and had some usage early. So
wait,
it's well, fine, Asking, fine. I didn't want to see an Ash again.
We just got so excited. I mean, we also saw the Junkrat too, and I was like, ooh, wait a minute. But no, it is going to be the kind of the classic meta composition right now for Skyfoxes, and why would you not? I mean, they're winning the mirror matchups in a lot of cases, and I think that this has been super strong for them, but you're right about the rotation. The rotation needs to be super clean, and once you actually see Third Impact make it through this specific part of the point, I think that's going to be kind of the signal for Skyfoxes to back up, but they're not giving up too much space yet, so maybe they know something about keeping this aggression up that is going to be impactful versus this team.
Big halt kill early onto Icy.
Yep.
I saw the wall come out by Hydran early, and I thought that was going to be a devastating early play, but now that early pick makes it significantly more opportunistic for Skyfoxes to push and take down Third Impact. A reset. Nice staggered kill though onto Asking, but still a lot to go with 3 minutes.
There is 3 minutes remaining, and that's a lot of time in the bank for Third Impact to deal with, but remember that it's going to be important for Third Impact to actually get through and cap both points with some time left on the clock, because this is still match point.
It really is. Halt's going to pull another up to the high ground, trying to get the accretion. The stun not going to do too much. Immortality Field actually going to be forced out very early from third impact. You've got the amplification matrix, though, getting a great pick on the Salty, who has been a huge harass here. But Crusade playing this corner so well, trying to keep that Orisa alive, dropping down to the lower section, respecting this team from third impact and not allowing too much to go down. But the Zenyatta in the back getting very low. Mudkip healed up. Here comes a contest, trying to regroup. Actually, you're going to see the entire team of Skyfoxes not engage this, would rather take a second fight and further at the point B.
I think that's really smart from Skyfoxes. Had they staggered onto the point, I think that would have left them without some breathing room to say, oh, okay, what is going to be the game plan? Now they know what their game plan is actually going to be. It's going to be Amplification Matrix into the Dragon Strike as well as the Gravitic Flux, and if things get really hairy, they might end up using the Blizzard as well. But this is going to stop a lot of the snowball pressure that Third Impact is hoping to move into point B with.
Absolutely correct. Having a lot of tools to mitigate any sort of aggression. This flank going to come out here by Third Impact, potentially from the side. Actually going straight in onto Salty, managing to get one. The Cryo Freeze going to be forced out to prevent the slam from Flux. Wall gonna separate, trying to get the counterpart, but the Dragon Strike comes through, getting triple the hole! Oh my goodness! What a combination needed immediately after the ultimates have been thrown. Nice job.
That was such a good job there because there really wasn't an answer. Immortality Field had already been used and it had been depleted by the time that you saw that Dragon Strike full combo. So well executed there. Skyfoxes still has a lot to keep this with, and they're already wearing down the clock to the point that even if Third Impact finishes out this map, finishes out the second point, Skyfox is going to have more time in the bank.
Asking, getting a nice early pick. Here's a Halt for the follow-up. Look at the synergy of the Halt Discord Arrow. Just the basic abilities here, really allowing so much value to be gained. The Cryo Freeze to survive through any sort of crowd control. The cleanup is here, and the time bank running dry. But the ult economy for Third Impact.
Ult economy might not be for Third Impact for too long, though. It depends on how Third Impact decides to rotate through these ults. Mudkip, again, has a very difficult job because you have the Dragon Strike, the Blizzard, as well as the Gravitic Flux, and I would kind of stand to reason that Skyfoxes also still has the tactical advantage because of how close those respawns are. So even if people go down like Asking does right now, Asking's going to come back before Third Impact can really come in and make use of these ults.
That ranged accretion was critical to allow those orbs to get the pick for that. And now with the Supercharger on the front side, getting a lot of value through this choke point, you see Third Impact really having to play back, not gaining as much value as I think they would have liked with that ultimate being forced because they're just being barraged by damage. And this flank by Skyfox is really separating the team, and Asking getting the double. Just relentless damage coming out from the two. Salty and Asking working in tandem with that Supercharger. 2 minutes and 30 to go. And still having 5 ultimates, but like you said, they're about even now.
They are going to be even. Decod had to use the Supercharger there, and it did some people back, but just the answer coming out from Crusade and Mikey from Skyfoxes just put them over the edge. Mikey has been playing this Orisa to such a strong fruition here for the team of Skyfoxes. We talked about those pulls being massive. The halts have just been incredibly well-timed with the Discord Orb, as well as shots coming in from both Crusade and Asking, but gotta be careful, Salt is getting super low.
Here comes the Flux in the backside. Transcendent's going to try and respond. 1 minute and 55 seconds to go. We'll have the nice takedown from Salty. Ultimates galore, but the freeze comes out. Salty overrun. The frost damage is real, but the Transcendence held onto by Mudkip. Skyfoxes in a position on the defensive side to reset. And this is 1 minute and 35 seconds still remaining to now claim victory on this map and claim the grand final winner of the Mayhem Winter Classic.
I know Mudkip is cute, but how come you haven't evolved into a Swampert yet? Because, my goodness, those Discord Orbs have made you such a monster. Like, it's almost an automatic, you just know it's going to be in the kill feed. You just know that there's going to be a Discord Orb on the target that Skyfoxes is taking down.
Comes the last potential fight to try and claim this second point again. This could be the final opportunity for Third Impact to bring this to another round, needing to claim this, but the Blizzard is there, will be dropped on the front side. You have Skyfoxes holding on to the Blizzard. It will be the Transcendence to survive through 50 seconds. Will Hydron commit it? Doesn't need to. There is far too much damage from the organized gameplay from Skyfoxes, and Third Impact is now in desperation.
They have 35 seconds left. They are going to have a coalescence. They're going to have the supercharger, but they worked a lot in the last meta, but is it going to work now? We haven't really seen Moira play too much, and there's just great ways to deal with it at the moment. Immortality Field exists as a part of this team composition, so you know that's what Crusade's going to be looking out for if they've been watching this correctly, but Asking might also get a pick here.
Oh, the dash dragon strike down the side position. The kinetic grasp on the high ground. The supercharger as well, going to boost a lot of damage for Asking to try and get some early damage with the storm arrows. Multiple members from Skyfoxes being boosted as an early pick comes out onto Zik. Not what you see. Third Impact, third meeting, as now the overrunning push, overtime commencing. You've got the Blizzard trying to lock it away. Skyfoxes want to make sure that they claim victory, take it back, work their way through the lower bracket all the way to the grand finals as the overtime commences, finally reaching its end, and Third Impact is unable to touch the point as Skyfoxes claims victory as the grand finals winner of Mayhem Winter Classic.
Championship, well deserved here. Asking, deserving this play of a game once again. You gotta give some credit though to Mikey for this one, because that would not have worked if you didn't have the Orisa too.
Mikey!
Mikey!
Oh my goodness, what an accomplishment for Skyfoxes. Just working their way through the lower bracket match after match, climbing from the depths with redemption to take the win over Third Impact, and it was a spectacular fight for both of these, but what a ride for Skyfoxes, Necra.
Yeah, I mean, just like taking a look at their journey once again, the Skyfoxes, you know, they beat Maryville pretty early on. They ended up taking over second win, lost to Revival, who they finally got the revenge on in the lower bracket after taking out Simplicity, and then yeah, they're here. They played against the team that went almost completely undefeated and took 3 maps off of them. And so Skyfox is well deserved of that grand prize, cash prize, as well as the title of the Winter Mayhem Classic champion. So that is going to be such a stellar gameplay for them. But Third Impact also, I mean, that was a titan. That was a behemoth of a team to really have to take out. They played so well up until this point of just being taken over by Skyfoxes. And I don't even think that it was Third Impact made mistakes. It was just Skyfoxes played better.
Yeah, just consistent gameplay, start to finish, busting their butts to get where they are. And again, for that first, second, and third, 4,500 here going to Skyfoxes. Third Impact getting the 22, and third going into the last place. There is 750 again, and it has been absolutely amazing. Serious shout out to all of the individuals that have been involved in this stream. We have Elo Hell again that we have been a great part of to bring this to you. We've had Mayhem again. We've got that exclamation point Mayhem if you'd like to find out more for their Discord, upcoming events, and also event gatherings and watch parties for the upcoming Overwatch League, among many other things. It has been truly amazing. And in addition, let's give another shout out to Gift of Life, our nonprofit partner, again, with the mission of curing patients with blood cancer, including leukemia and lymphoma. It's truly an amazing thing. And again, so many times, because we truly do believe that you're actually a hero to help out so many members that are, you know, less fortunate in that. By doing so, you can click exclamation point gift, where you find out the process of donating by swabbing the inner portion of your mouth, allowing you to see if you are a match for a bone marrow donor, where you can give somebody an opportunity to live their life more to the full. And again, we've got some serious thanks to everybody. Necra, it is always a pleasure to be part with you, involved in all of this. Everyone can